Nunez is the free kick king. And will squad depth be vital following a fanatic win at Loftus Road? Welcome back to Where the Town Walk with myself, Luke, and today we've got Ian and Rich talking all things Ipswich. So, Rich, how was your journey to the capital? And great result.
Journey to London was standard. Drove down there, Luke. Getting to London takes about an hour, and then it takes an hour to do probably 10 miles. So, look, fine. Getting down there and... it's a good day. It's always good when you go to London and you come away with 3 points. Always a good town support down there. And we'll get onto the game. And it was nice to get that monkey off our back, wasn't it? Winning an away game.
Definitely. And it all started with such a fast start, which I think was really key to the game in general. And Ian, it was really good to see, wasn't it? Such a good start, and Agueli especially beating his man, and great ball to Hurst to head home.
Yeah, I think it was three really good things there. First of all, get an early goal. We really need to get our foot ahead. Two, for George Hurst to score as well. He knows that people have been critical of him as well. And then for Egley, it straight away, it showed QPR that we have a viable threat on the right-hand side, which kind of meant that they were kind of defending one side, but they couldn't go the other. So he always had the option to take it on his left or push it down, and you see for the second Hurst goal when he actually laid it off to Furlong. So it gave Furlong that space as well. And I think McMills mentioned it on the way home about, it was great to see a right-wing dominant town side for once in a game and not everything going down the left-hand side. So, it was a perfect start to what was a great day. Yeah,
definitely. I think the fullback for QPR would have probably been watching clips of Agueli throughout the week, coming in on his left, coming in on his left, coming in on his left. And I think it was very smart to be the first thing he does is to go out on the right. And like you said, it just gave the fullback a question then for the rest of the game. And it then obviously led the way it did. It was, really good to see. I think we sort of controlled the first half and until the goal, Rich. Is that fair to say?
I think this sums Town up a little bit, the first half, because I think we get that early goal. And then for me, I think you should go and with pretty much in control without really dominating. I think that's the time when you're on top. Go and get another goal, go and get a second goal and it make you easy. And then we give another poor goal away. Christian Walton, I think it's a poor bit of goalkeeping, Luke, if I'm honest. I think I was sitting directly behind it. His view wasn't the best, but I think you got to try and push that away. And then I think we are on our heels as defenders, and the QPR guy, he's running in. It's a bit like the two goals that Jack Clark's got, where he's following them balls in. So fair play to him. And then I thought for the rest of the half, we were moving the ball a little bit too slow. I think we spoke about it after the Middlesbrough game. When something goes against us sometimes, we find it difficult to sort of get out of that sort of funk that we're in for a few minutes. And look, we went in at 1-1 at half-time, which I think we probably would have taken. There was another chance. I think O'Shea got caught on the ball, and I think it was Kone had a shot on Walton save. But I thought for 20 minutes we played well, and then the next 20, 25 minutes sort of summed us up a little bit as a team at the minute.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, it's the response, isn't it? That's the next thing that we're going to have to get better at, is the response from when we go down, etc. And going back to your first original point, when we controlled the game up until their goal, but we didn't push on, did we? We didn't really take it at them. And I think McKenna actually mentioned that we didn't repeat cycles of play. We didn't repeat the sort of same actions, and that would have been the thing to do, to really sort of push QPR back and maybe go 2-3-0 up, etc. Let's talk about the Nunez free kicks, Ian. I think the first one especially, what a beauty, and it's good to what an option to have a player that can score from a dead ball.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we had Leaf over the ball as well. We know he's not bad with his left peg, but I think the way that first goal with Nunez to kind of get it round. I mean, keeper's got to think that his position wasn't that great, but it curled in nicely and a great view for the Ipswich fans right behind it as well. The second free kick, when you look at it back, you see it takes a bit of a deflection now. I think that if he hadn't hit the wall, it would have gone out probably 4 or 5 foot wide actually, but yeah, really poor from the QPR wall there. They should be blocking that. So I feel for the keeper in the end. But for Nunez, it's brilliant because, you know, he's one of these players that we've had through the history of Ipswich. You think like Martin Reusser and players like that who can lift the crowd, you know, the flying thin as well. You know, they may not always be the most skillful players, but, you know, Nunez has got that as well. So we need a player like him in the Ipswich team, because one thing we are not really comfortable doing, like you've both mentioned, is putting a foot down to the ground and, you know, and taking these teams to the blooming, take the sword to them or something, because we need to be going in at 2-0 up. We can't afford to kind of cruise in on 1-0 and we'll just play it nicely at the back. We need to be ruthless. And I know it's not in our DNA sometimes. We're much more of a nice standard of football, but sometimes just be brutal.
Yeah, definitely. And also touched on Nunez. I think it was a very, very assured performance from him in the 10 position. And obviously, yes, he did operate as a 10, but there were certain times where he actually did drop a little bit deeper as well, just naturally, just as that's obviously what he naturally is like. So I think he really worked, didn't he? And I actually liked the Matthew Seward-Taylor partnership. Rich, what do you think to that? I think they complement each other well.
Yeah, I think Jack Taylor, if you look at his town career, Luke, sort of as a whole, and when he came in, I think he was probably never going to sort of disrupt the Morsey-Luongo partnership, you know, because that was so good. So it was probably a difficult start for him coming in. And then we've obviously got promoted to the Premier League. So then we signed Calvin Phillips, Kajus, and Morsey's still there, and Luongo's there. So it's been pretty difficult for him to get a run of games. So if you're looking at his town career, you could say, a lot of fans might say, well, Jack Taylor's not done a lot. But then he could say, well, I've not had a run of games. So maybe this is the time when he can get that run of games. He's just got to keep that level of performance up now, because I don't think he was quite as good as he was at West Brom, the home game, when I think he was probably man of the match. But I think for me, in the midfield, Mick Mills touched on it on the radio, Jens is he's a good player, but he wanders a little bit and he leaves us a little bit exposed. And Matt Seward, sometimes he's left on his own. Whereas Jack Taylor, I think he can do a little bit of everything. You know, he's got the legs, he can pass the ball, he can shoot. So it's just up to him now, Luke. It's on him to keep putting in a level of performance. And another thing, it's got to be up to the manager as well now to say, right, I'm going to trust you. If you keep playing well, I'm going to pick you. It'd be interesting. We'll come on to Watford. What sort of changes we make? I hope that it's minimal, yeah, because I think we showed against Charlton, didn't we, when we changed 7? It didn't work. And I think Watford are a better team than Charlton. So going back to that. But yeah, I thought it worked nicely. I thought Nunez, he was good. Take his goals away. I thought he was good without that. But it'd be interesting to see when Akpom gets fit and Smodics gets fit. You know, you do need everybody fit, because the games are going to come after this November break. They come thick and fast, don't they, up to Christmas and into the New Year. So you're going to need everyone fit.
Yeah, that brings us on nicely to the our next discussion, which I'd like to talk about, is the squad depth. Obviously, we picked up a few injuries. Davis and Hurst from the game. They said obviously they felt their hamstrings. Not sure what's going to happen there. Obviously, Azon didn't make the game, but we have got a real depth in our squad. And is that going to be key in going into the double game week and then looking into the December period?
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be brutal playing full on football in winter conditions over 90 minutes, one game every 3 days on average. It's going to be brutal. And I think what we're seeing already now is we've got versatility in the squad, not just quality on the squad, but the versatility. For Nunez to step up into the 10. I know that Jack Clark can cover the left back position, and people are going, "What, Jack Clark?" But he's done it. So we've got flexibility where you may not even realise. But what I really want to see is we need to try and be consistent in that number 10 position if we can, because it's that strength in the number 10 will get our opposition to worry about that, and that will give space in the middle for whether it be Jens or Jack Taylor. And like we just mentioned about Jack Taylor, he can do a bit of everything. What he can also do is hit from range. And we've been critical over the last couple of weeks now, haven't we? Not enough goals coming from that midfield area. Yeah, that's another threat that someone's going to have to close it down. It gives us the options on the wings. We look at the depth with Wes Burns coming back soon. We've got Egley and Burns out on the right wing. We've got McAteer on the right wing. I'm pretty sure some of those can switch onto left if they needed to as well. We're seeing Clark pushed out to the right. So I think our flank play is much covered. We've got 5, 6, 7 players who can take that. Left back is slightly more risky, but again, Johnson came across, did fairly well. I think we're pretty wrapped up in the depth when you look at other teams and you look at our bench week in, week out. We've got players on that bench that would start, as we mentioned last week, they would start probably any Championship team. And 2 big games against Coventry in December as well. There's going to be a few knocks and blows coming during that game as well. Not to mention yellow card suspensions possibly as well.
Yeah, good to see Coventry drop a few points on Friday night, wasn't it? That definitely was a nice boost to start the weekend. What do you think, Rich? Did you think we've got the squad depth to cover when these injuries do come, and obviously have done now with the likes of Davis and Hurst?
Yeah, I think we've got the squad depth. We spoke about it before. Leif Davis, I don't think we've got a natural replacement for him, Luke, and this is why when Ian touched on the right-hand side, we can't rely on that side of the pitch all the time. I think we've become a little bit too predictable playing down that left-hand side. So it was nice yesterday to see 2 assists coming down the other side, but I think we're pretty well stocked in all the departments, really. But I'd still like to see, I know we're going to have a lot of games, I'd still like to see quite a consistent sort of 11. You're going to get injuries, I mean, Hurst, I think they said he had a bit of cramp, so we'll have to see what goes on then. You've got Akpom who can play up top like he had to come on yesterday, He's played there before. But everyone's going to need game time. It's a difficult one for me because I think Kieran's always had that ability to keep everybody happy, hasn't he? He keeps everyone involved in his squad, which is probably one of his... I don't know if it's... To me, it's one of his powers, but then I think maybe it could be a little bit of a weakness sometimes where he does change it a little bit too much. But then, look, who am I to question the Messiah?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's one of them where it would be nice to see us play a consistent team, but with the double game week, I can imagine there's going to be a few changes on Tuesday night, rightly or wrongly so. That's what I can imagine. I can see Kaiusa coming in, obviously starting the game. Maybe Taylor does get rested if you see it that way, because he's obviously not used to the amount of games he has already played the last couple of weeks. So maybe you'll see Kaiusa come in, depending on the situation with Hurst. Maybe Akpom will start, and then the Davis one. You're right. We haven't got someone that can play the way Davis plays. Obviously, we've got Ben Johnson and Ashley Young who can operate down that side, but it will be different because they're not left-footed. And I was actually looking through the team. We haven't got many left-footed players that can either sort of fill in on that side just to fill in. So something we'll have to see. Fingers crossed the Davis one isn't anything too serious. Something we spoke about last week was obviously the McKenna comments after the game. Then we've had this week where he's rumoured to yet again another job with the Celtic job. Ian done a great show in during the week talking about that. So if you haven't seen that, for guys watching, please check the last show. So it was kind of a bit of an up and down week with McKenna, but the response from the fans, I think, was brilliant, and it really showed, didn't it, Ian, the love that the fans have for McKenna. But also, I don't know if you saw it, the love that McKenna has back to them. He was there touching his chest, clapping the fans. It really does show that the bond is still strong.
Yeah, there was a timely announcement, wasn't it, Thursday evening, when he said that in his mind, he treats his job like he'll be the Ipswich manager forever. He didn't say, I'll be the Ipswich manager to the end of the season. He said forever. And I thought, that's quite a bold statement. And he and Ashton of the ilk that saying, we don't need to answer questions on our loyalties. I'm not even going to give it the time of day. Unfortunately, as a fan, you're like, no, please do give it the time of day. Please do tell us that you're never going to leave us. So we just have to trust in them that, he's committed to the club and that's all he is focused on. And it was a great reaction from the fans. And I think it's a lot of pressure off McKenna as well. Next thing I guess we'll hear is Wolves are after him as well, now that they've just sacked their manager. So we'll see what happens. There's a few managers out of work at the moment, so I'll just keep the Wolves at the door for a while.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Rich, you were at the game. The response, brilliant from the fans at the end to McKenna.
Did we have we both heard the Will Still news tonight before we've come
on?
Yeah.
He's
gone.
I have indeed. But don't worry, guys. I don't think McKenna's going to be going.
No, he's not going to Southampton. Look, there's a lot of love for McKenna, and there always has been, and there always will be. Whatever happens, And I know. Look, we haven't probably started the way we wanted, and there's a few doubters on social media, but I think you're always going to get that, whatever happens, because everyone has a view, don't they, with football nowadays, like team selection, he should do this, he should do that. But he played a straight bat, Luke, at the press conference. I like, sometimes when Kieran, you hear him on the radio, you could, if you didn't know him, and like we've listened to him for 4 years, if you were just an outsider, you think, oh, he's a bit dull. But I think his personality comes across. Like when he does the interviews with like Matt Holland, he's a little bit more at ease there. He was quite at ease, I think, at the press conference. He had a little bit of a laugh about it. There's a lot of Scottish reporters here today, he said, didn't he? So the press conference, it didn't really surprise me what he said. Kieran plays a straight bat. He's not going to give any sort of... He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He's our manager until either... He goes, which he will eventually. He'll go eventually. He won't be here forever. It was an interesting link for me for Celtic, because I know people can say the Scottish League's not that strong, but then you've got the pool that I think he's a Celtic supporter. His family are Celtic. It could be a manoeuvre for him to go up to Scotland, win some trophies, and then he makes that next step up. It could be used as a stepping stone. But I think as Town fans, we all want to see him lead us back to the Premier League and then have another go at it and see if we can improve on what we done last time. Because Kieran will probably... He's honest enough to know that probably there were some mistakes made, in some of the transfers, in maybe some of the tactical stuff. And I'd like to see what he can do next time if we get there. But look, we've got a lot of hard work ahead of us before we even sort of talk about that. We've only played, 12 games?
Yeah, exactly. I said I understand the frustration from the fans the last couple of weeks, but yes, you've had the odd McKenna out thing, but it's not really been about him going. It's just been a fan's frustration, hoping for a little bit of adaptability maybe within. But it's, from the majority of fans, it's never been we want McKenna out. No, we want McKenna in. We just maybe want a little bit more adaptability and a little bit more this and that. So, which is, I think, from a fan's point of view, we're in our right to comment on different things like that. But yeah, the majority of fans have never come out saying, "Oh, we want McKenna gone" or anything like that. Which yeah, it was nice to see that the fans responded the way they did on the weekend. So yeah, now looking ahead to the double game week, starting with Watford at home. Ian, it's prediction times. What are we thinking? Are we hoping for 3 points? What's going to be the scoreline?
Well, Watford are coming in off a fantastic win, 3-0 against Middlesbrough. You would think. But again, we've been focused on Middlesbrough's form over the last few weeks anyway, as Ipswich fans. And it's interesting that they have this up and down at Middlesbrough. So, I think the 3-0 victory for Watford might be flattering as they come into this game. We've really got to build on this great away win at QPR. And I need to see nothing less than 2 goals going from Ipswich. I'd love to see us 2-0 up at half-time and then just, maybe take your foot off the pedal in the second half with change of players and maybe get a 3rd goal in. So I'm going to say an ambitious 3-0 for Ipswich and get that much needed clean sheet again.
Love it. What do you think, Rich? Watford at home is under the lights, Portman Road. We hoping for 3 points?
Well, I think now we've shown, haven't we, with back-to-back wins, we just need to be consistent. Because if we look at the division as a whole, I watched Wrexham Coventry on Friday, Luke, and I think Coventry reminded me a little bit of the team that we had when we got promoted. I think they're going to score plenty of goals, but I think they're going to leak a few. I mean, Wolfenden, if you see it, he literally got taken to the cleaners by Kiefer Moore, didn't he? And there's a lot of our fans saying, "Oh, we should have kept him. He should be in the team." Well, look at that. And we've always let goals in. We've always let goals in under McKenna, even when we had Wolfenden and Cameron Burgess, who we're going to come across on Saturday. So we'll concede on Tuesday night. I'm pretty sure that Watford will probably score one somewhere along the line. But I think we're at home and we really need to nail it now. We've had 2 wins. We've won away from home, and you've got to get that home form that if we're consistent at home throughout the season, we're going to be up there somewhere, I think, in the shake-up. Because you look at that league, we haven't really got going. We're, 6 points off second with a game in hand? And you think we haven't even scratched the surface with this team yet. We played in fits and starts, and even I think yesterday we've won 4-1. I think the scoreline probably does flatter us a little bit, but it's goals that count, and we have to score when we're on top. We need a first half goal at Portman Road because that settles everybody down. So I'll go for a 2-1 win. We'll probably be 2-0 up, and we'll probably concede with about 10 minutes left to make it a little bit edgy, but we'll probably just about scrape over the line.
We do normally love it a little bit edgy near the end, don't we? So I wouldn't be surprised. Now, after the Watford game, we're then on to Swansea away. We'll go back to you, Rich, so you get the chance to say your prediction first. Swansea away, it's a tough place to go.
Yeah, look, there's the old adage, isn't it? There's no easy games in this league. And I think we would all love a 9-point week. You know, that is what we done the last time we got out of this league a couple of times. We took 9 points. I think we've done a 7 as well. So if we take 7 points this week, I think we'd all be happy. If we can take 9, but I don't want to get too carried away. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw at Swansea.
Okay. No, I think we touched on it a couple of weeks ago. I think it's before the Charlton Borough week, I think it was, where it was a couple of weeks ago where we said, right, this is going to be a statement week. If we go and we win these both games, that kind of really is a statement week. And obviously it didn't quite happen. I think this week is quite similar. If we win, if we beat Watford, we beat Swansea, that's then 4 games on the bounce. We picked up 3 points, which then is a statement. You know, to go four victories in a row is a real statement thing. So I think that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that statement to be like, right, okay, yeah, momentum's there. We're going to push on. What do you think, Ian? Swansea away?
Yeah, it's quite a difficult place to go sometimes, I think, for teams. Swansea have got the makings of a very good team. I'm not sure they're there yet, but we need to go with that kind of defensive mindset, I think, for that Swansea game, knowing that Burgess will be up on set pieces. We're not the best at set pieces. We've got Walton's confidence is a little bit dented going for the balls. Bearing in mind he's nearly about 8 foot tall. He shouldn't have a problem. I think we're going to have to play that one very carefully. We're going to have to maybe go to the old style of hitting them on the break, potentially. It's going to be as good odds for a draw, 1-1 there. But I'm still confident that if we get a result on Tuesday against Watford, I would like to think we can maybe go away and kind of smash and grab 1-0.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. Nice statement week to push us into the international break. Now on to our feature of A to Z, and we're on the letter E, aren't we, guys? So we'll start with yourself, Rich. What is your letter E for Ipswich?
Well, I started going to town in 1984 with my dad, and one of the games that stands out for me, it was 1985. I think that was the relegation season. We had the Radio Orwell shirts, and we played Everton in a cup tie, and we drew 2-2 at Goodison Park. This is the Everton team then, Luke, that won the league under Howard Kendall, and literally I could name that team now, every single player. Fantastic team, and we had a replay at Portman Road, and I remember my dad always said to me after the game, Ian, I cried into my Parker jacket, you know, I had it right up to my face. It was 0-0. It was quite a frosty night, and it was a real harsh penalty given. It's on YouTube. You can go and watch the highlights. Russell Osman, it bounces up, it hits him on the arm. He's got no clue that it's just hit him. Graham Sharp scores 1-0. I think 2 minutes later, Steve McCall has a shot at the Churchman's End, beats Neville Southall, hits the post, and we lose 1-0. And I was absolutely devastated, Luke, as a 9-year-old then. That's given my age away as well.
that set you up nicely, though, for your journey as an Ipswich fan, didn't it? That set you up nicely. Ian, what is your letter E, please, mate?
Okay, I'm thinking of one of the players in Ipswich Town Hall of Fame, actually, and that's the big John Ellsworthy. John Ellsworthy, young Welsh, played for Newport in an amateur team, got seen by Ipswich, brought on board at the team. He's one of a few players who's been a one club player as well, which is pretty good. Started in 1949 to 1965. He won a title in the 3rd Division South, won the 2nd Division, and also won the 1st Division. Again, there's not many players who've won championship medals on the top 3 divisions in football as well. So, yeah, I mean, this guy, if he was playing today, I mean, he's an absolute bruiser. He was massive. He played the inside left position, which we don't really have in football these days, but it's probably closest to maybe a number 10 come number 8 position. I don't know. But, John Ellsworthy, he was a really good servant for the club. And what is such a shame is he never actually got a full Wales cap, because I think he was selected for the 1958 World Cup in Sweden. And the Welsh FA didn't have enough money to pay for 21 players to fly out to Sweden. And he was one of the 2 that didn't get on the plane. So, what could have been.
What could have been? Gutted, bless him. I like it, boys. Right, we are now finishing on the tweet of the week. So, tweet of the week is about a player that I'm quite hopeful is going to have a good career at Ipswich if we can keep hold of him for the foreseeable. And the tweet reads: "Egeli has it all." And I think personally it was his best game in the town shirt against QPR. What do you think, Rich? What's the ceiling for this young lad?
Well, I give you the pronunciation, didn't we, when we were chasing him? That I remember that Sunday, Sunderwale Egeli, and we didn't know a lot about him, did we? And then we looked into it and thought, this player looks a bit handy. I mean, I think he's going to be a star, Luke. I honestly do. I think you got to remember that he's 19. He's a kid, But yesterday, I think it was his best game in the town shirt. Look, I like, Ian touched on it earlier. I like that he's got the ability to come inside. And also, he's got that ability to go outside on his right foot. So you've got a headache there for the fullback. I don't think it'll be long before he'll be cutting in on that left foot, Luke, and he'll be bending one in the top corner. I can see that coming. I think he could eventually maybe end up as a number 10. Yeah. I think he could play in there. But he's obviously come with a big price tag, and that comes. Look, it adds pressure. But I just think he's starting off now, and I just think he's going to get better. You just got to. He'll have a few games where maybe he's a bit quiet, and you might have to dip him out of the team. But then if you've got Burns coming back and you've got McAteer, you can dip him in and out. But also yesterday as well was probably when he played at Borough away. I thought maybe it was the wrong decision to play him there, but it's a little bit different, isn't it? Playing away from home and at home, because at home you're going to be having a little bit more of the ball. But I thought his defensive work was good yesterday, and it showed. I mean, he played his part in the third goal, which that was a typical McKenna goal. If you watch that back from Walton, it goes through the pitch. Egeli picks the pass at the right time for Darnell Furlong, and he literally lays it on a plate for George. So I think it's an exciting time, and I think he's an exciting player. I think we're going to enjoy watching him for hopefully a couple of seasons.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with the tweet. I think he does have it all. He's decent on both feet. He's got the physicality as well. Like you said, he's only 19, so there's still obviously maybe room for him to grow as well. Great finish, guys. So yeah, he's got the height. So I think it worked great as well. There was a moment, I think it was in the second half, where he chased back and put in a real nice challenge on a QPR player. So yeah, I think he's got a bit of everything, Ian, and I think that's good to see, especially from a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a phenomenal left foot, but I think what he's got, which stands him out above everybody of his own age group, is his vision. I think a couple of times at Portman Road, he's picked out Leif Davis with 40-yard plus passes across. They're the kind of things that you expect Ashley Young to do, not a 19-year-old guy from Norway. I think what's going to be interesting, though, is going into December, he'll be like, what are we doing playing football in December? Because he's so used to having that winter break in Scandinavian football. I also have to say, I think he'll be so much better in the Premier League. I think in the Championship, it gets very condensed in that final third. In the Premiership, we have a lot more space. And the players who can bring that ball on the left-hand side, could really open up defences. But yeah, he is... there's a lot of Premier clubs who were looking at him last year, and they'll be interested to see how he progresses in English football. Probably ready to pounce. Maybe it's going to be beneficial for us that he hasn't started getting goals yet, because come January he would certainly be high on a couple of teams' lists like Newcastle. So yeah,
he can. Premier League teams can stay away. He's our boy. We put the money up. We've got him. So yeah, he's our boy for the foreseeable. Lovely guys. I appreciate another great conversation. This I want to see a statement. Let's go get 6 points from the week, which would obviously finish off with a 9-point week. Let's go do it. Thank you everybody for watching at home. Please like and subscribe, and please get involved in the comments below about your predictions for the upcoming games.